we're tuning in. You already know, we're here to talk booking shows. We may not be experts in the game, but we're giving our advice all the same. Like the Three Stooges, we'll bring the fun. Talking Claw wrestling is second to none. Let's talk our shop, turn up the dial. Unfiltered opinions, that's our style. Crack your headphones and give us a listen. The Let's Talk CAW podcast. Talk. The Let's Talk CAW podcast. Talk. Podcast.
Alright. Goddamn. I think I can't even hear you guys right now. That's the funniest part. Because on this one, the intro. Okay, get it all out of your system. Just getting the show out right now, guys. Once we get it shared, we'll be on our way. Picking up all the streaming time today. Kind of. Yeah, I was like, I'm here. I'm looking around. Yo, what's up, Tech? Alright, here we go. Let's go live.
What's up, Deccan?
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Wait, where's the chat box at for this thing? It should be on here, so it's showing, and you guys can see who's talking.
Oh, it's a chance to get a pound code.
We can't see. Where's the chat at? What the hell? Alert box, blurb, Discord, GM, game audio. God damn it. Do I have a chat box in here? Chat box. Add source. Add source.
You're always screwing everything up.
Yep. Okay.
But that's why we like them.
Your chat should appear now. Hopefully.
We keep them around for the entertainment.
Shut up.
Yeah.
See? There it is. Oh, Gav's finding all the fun emails. Is that a trout? That is a trout. So the subject today is communication in CAW. Communication in CAW wrestling.
Uh-huh.
A thing we all very much struggle with.
Yeah. I struggle with it all the time, so and we're gonna get into that very soon. Where's the chat box at? Properties.
And don't worry, since all of our shows are still active, no names will ever be said. Even though we could.
That should update it. How do locomotives know where they're going? Lots of training. That's kind of funny. All right, I just fixed the chat box. Sorry, guys. One we didn't have it set up to. It was too big, and I couldn't see anybody's comments, so I just fixed everything on it. So, anyway, but we are talking about communication in CAW. We're not gonna drop any names or anything like that, but we're just gonna talk about like
We could though. That'd be the funniest ones.
how we communicate and that kind of stuff. So who wants to go first?
I vote. Let's go first.
All right. Odds, do you want to start this topic off and get us going here? Let's talk about a time when, first and foremost, when you're communicating with people for your eFed, as the show owner, what is your preferred method of communication? And we'll start from there.
Well, it depends on the person. And depends on the individual. Some individuals want to know everything about the storyline, and some don't want spoilers.
I like to think. I think I'm one of the first category. I would prefer to know what's coming up.
Well, yeah, but some people, I know one of our brothers in arms back in the old days. Shout out to Ray. I used to be like that, where he wouldn't want to know spoilers. Him, I can drop names of because I think he's fully retired at this point. But yeah, there's many indications like that. There's many people like that either want to know want to know the storylines and want to know everything about it, and some don't want to know spoilers, but want to know the bare bones basics of where we're going, and want to watch how it all plays out. So you always have to, before anything, know what type of person you're dealing with before telling them anything.
Yeah, and I think that's where I fail at the most, is I'm not very good at like getting that information up front. Like, do you prefer to have? Do you want to know what's going on, or do you want to be surprised? That's something that I'm not very good at. What I do try and do though, and I'm Mr. Bad News, I guess. You'll get a, hey, got a minute? Like, oh fuck, my character's losing. That's usually when I reach out to people.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want you to know when you're gonna win, because when you're gonna win, I want that genuine surprise look on your face. Like with Blaze, I didn't want to let him know that he was gonna win the event today. I was like, I'm gonna be quiet about this because I want to get a genuine reaction when he does.
And that's another one with people like us that have friends or just certain things. There's certain storylines I don't. Even though Beetle's in my inner circle, there's storylines Beetle don't even know about because I want to make sure that he's surprised when he sees it happen.
Heck, all of Starcade this year, all of Starcade.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't expecting any of that. I didn't anticipate Mavericks winning the U.S. title. I thought he was going to lose. Like, I could have sworn we had talked about the plan was him losing and I think it was Primetime winning the belt. So I'm sitting here expecting Mavericks to lose the title, and he wins, and I'm sitting like, what? And then of course my head starts spinning with ideas. Instantly, I'm like, you need to make that belt in 25 and send it to me right now. I have an idea. But and then I didn't expect Jin to get the final fall in that women's match. That was
by necessity.
Yeah, that was by necessity, but still that caught me off guard too. I thought she was gonna be one.
That was by necessity of I just spent at least 2 hours setting 2 hours with a few of these matches. You won? Good.
Yeah,
we're done.
I understand that too. Trust me, I understand that. I've had matches where they go really long, and I'm just like, I'll just settle with the winner because one, the match was good, and two, shit, I am not gonna sit here another hour trying to get the right winner in this match. So been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and when you work, and
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt, had that coffee.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Was it under?
Yeah, I am Mr. Bad News. One of you watching knows that. We had a plan. It didn't go the way we wanted to. And I reached out to said person and said, "Oh, hey, by the way, the match didn't go as planned. Here's the
Mr. Bad News."
Yep, I am Bad News Barrett when it comes to communication. It's like,
ladies and gentlemen, he's afraid he's got some bad news.
They're like, oh shit, Beat's reaching out. That means my character's losing. Now, half the time though, I do try to set up storylines with people. So like, I'll reach out and say, hey, I'd like to run this story with your character. That was There's someone else who was there earlier today who I was reaching out to set up stories with for their character. And there's a little more to it still, so looking forward to seeing how that story plays out. But I do try to communicate what your story is. See if you want to cut a promo or not. That's something I need to get better at. That in-character chat I kind of use to try and gauge what a character's promo would look like. So if I drop matches and I say, hey, go cut a promo if you want, sometimes maybe that promo might actually show up on a stream. You know? It may end up getting used in some way, shape, or form, because I'll go, okay, this is how they want their character to be portrayed on screen. So I can take that and actually, use it in a promo. I'll run promos by people, but that's my extent of communication outside of it. But what are your guys's, or sorry for taking your spot odds, kind of ramble on, damn it.
Apology not accepted, you old bastard.
Good God.
But
Draw.
oh yeah, back to odds.
So
Yeah, it just depends on the different style of who you're talking to. Then there's other circumstances where you don't want to talk to them by necessity. Because then you'll hear, because then sometimes you may hear a lot of these good ideas, or they'll just, or going into another side of the side of the conversation of people just jumping and doing storylines themselves without actually giving permission.
that's something I ran into in 23 when I wasn't.
That can sometimes happen because which as an owner, as a runner of the show, you get it. People are excited about their storyline and people are excited to do stuff. And they think they should do certain things in the angle. But that don't mean that's what the owner has planned.
Throwing people off buildings, for instance. and shooting somebody out of the building with a rocket launcher and having drones show up to attack people.
Or I don't know where I was going with that.
You're just supposed to be the big bodyguard. All right, cool. I'm gonna be.
But there's many
Inspector Gadget.
But in those circumstances, like, especially the same thing with people that, for example, this is broad. We've all been through this. I want this person in a Iron Man Hell in a Cell tables match.
What?
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, but I want. They come up with some cockamamie long match that is now their main match.
At that point,
That happens.
Or this or that or whatever.
Yeah, it happens a lot because as time has gone on, especially with e-fetting, around the time period that Blaze got over, Blaze started coming up and Twitch started coming up and all these people started coming up, a lot of the older feds were dying off or just retiring and not doing it anymore. So, and not a lot of people knew that. And when the barren wasteland of the feds that were around all these new feds started coming around, it's like, ooh, you started having people that weren't really a part of that school and didn't really know a lot of those older feds and didn't know how the old feds did things or whatever, because they're new, and as time has moved on and time has advanced, there are just streams of people doing that type of stuff, just matches by request, which is fine. That's a type of fed too. That's a type of fed too, but it leaves openings for people that don't know about this side of the fed world and how we do things, so some wires can get crossed.
Yeah.
That's why when you find those type of people, as much as a fed owner, as a fed runner like me, you want to pull your hair out and you're like, this stupid motherfucker. You have to be calm and know that this is someone that doesn't know this side of the fed world. So the main thing you have to do, like Blaze has done on his show, explain how these shows work. There
Blaze
are
has a lot more patience than we do.
Yeah, there's preset
learned so much
matches
from
and
him.
there's preset match types in that company's universe, if you will. And you can't just add one to the picture just because you want to.
For me, what I try to tell people is, if you really want to set up a match, talk to me and let's work a story out. Like that's my biggest thing. If you want to set
especially if you have an idea like that, we can add stuff to it. We can make it a storyline. We can do stuff with it and add it to the story. So it's not just came out of nowhere.
Right, and it's something that we can build to. Like, it might take longer. You might not get that instant match that you're hoping for. Like, you want the match tomorrow. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but what I can do, if you work with me, I can build up to it, and I can tell a story that leads to the match. So that way, when we get to the match,
in a lot of circumstances, it's instant gratification.
Yes, and
which is what we have to teach.
Which is, if you want to do a story, talk to me about it, so that way I can actually schedule it and work it out. And you get that big payout that you're seeing. You get the big payout that you see. Let's see who's a good example here. You can get the big payout like Mavericks did when he won the world title, right? Or you can get the big payout that Delvin did when he beat Jesus and took the title. Well, he didn't take the title from him, but when he beat Jesus and took back control of the company, there was that whole interweaving of that story that led up to it that I played out on screen.
Yeah, it's the destination of where we're going, not and how you get there is more important than where the destination is.
Getting to Diamond, finally getting her hands on Idol.
Yeah.
That took build. It took a few weeks to get me there.
Yeah, which, folks, that's stuff that's been happening in real wrestling for 150 years. It's bare bones basics. But again, some people are new, and that's why you have to sit there and kind of teach them that. And because some of these people don't look into wrestling that deep. So when you show them that, it's like, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because I've been there from the wrestler side of it, from the CAW wrestler side of it. You don't know what some Fed owners are doing with their story. And you can sometimes have a bad day or have a bad week and really want that win because that can perk you up from a bad day, or whatever is mentally going through your head at the time, and you don't get it, and that can crush you.
So if I
But that's why
may,
you always have to have communication with the Fed owner and know where you're going with it, and know that the destination as a babyface is you winning, and the destination as a heel is you losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I can, as far as like the destination as the heel losing and whatnot, that's something that we've talked about in the past too, is knowing when to cut like that really deep promo, right? It's something that we communicated about, me and you, Odds, in the past, where you had asked me, what was it? We were doing Delvin Phoenix or something like that, right? And
Yeah,
you were
Delvin
like,
Phoenix.
Who's winning? Who's winning this match? Delvin's gonna win the match. All right, cool. You proceed to go out, knowing Phoenix is gonna lose, and cut probably one of the best heel promos I've ever seen, and got that crowd so riled up.
Well, yeah.
It was just like, this is awesome. But that was part
and
of
that's the thing that that's the thing that some people don't understand too with communication, is when they say, when a Fed owner says that, oh, you're going to win, you're winning, or if you're one of those that want to know, it's like, okay, you're winning the title tonight. Okay, cool. They proceed to bury their opponent, destroy their opponent in the promo, and because they think that all promos should be utter annihilation, destroy them, maim them, kill their family. No. Some promos do not have to be that deep. You don't have to cut that deep. You don't have to, because you're winning the match.
Yeah, if you're,
The point is to get you sympathy as a babyface.
yeah, if you're
So when you win, they're happy.
Yep. Exactly.
So the heel can say all the crap that they want, especially when they're losing. Notice in promos, if they're winning, if the heel's winning, most of my heels aren't saying too awful much.
If they
that are scathing.
If they win, it's like, oh yeah, the right thing happened. The ref called the match fair. It was a great match.
Yeah, it's
it's the whole.
Again, look at Phoenix and CAW Young. How many times did Phoenix in that entire thing between Phoenix and Kyle go scathing scorched earth and CPW on Kyle? None.
Yeah, zero. He may have been a dick in one of the promos. Just he was dicking around saying stupid stuff, but it wasn't like he didn't go the route that he did with Delvin, and he didn't do what you told me to do with Delvin and what I did with him in 23 when I knew he was gonna lose.
Yeah, because
like, if he's gonna lose,
because when the heel when the heel is losing, have them go scorched earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they lose, everything that they just said crumbles down.
It crumbles down, but they also get that memorable moment with the crowd, and they keep their heat. That's the other important thing about that scorched earth thing. When the heel's gonna lose, you need to cut a tough promo when you're losing, because you need that crowd to remember you and keep your heat. Because if the babyface buries you, then they don't have any opponents, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to just communication in general, when it comes to as owners, there's plenty of times where that's a problem, especially when it comes to creative people like us. Especially because the original feds like mine, Raw Relax Wrestling back in the day, there was no cause other than mine. So I could do whatever the hell I wanted. I can still do what I want, but you also have to let people know what you're doing. And that can sometimes be hard to remember.
Yeah. And that's a good point, Scorpion. If the heel does win, it makes their eventual loss hit even harder.
Exactly.
So, someone won tonight. Not saying which heel, but someone won tonight. And eventually, when he does lose, it's going to be amazing.
It will be great.
It will. It'll work. It'll work when he actually loses. That's the other reason I didn't cut a scathing promo with him against his opponent, because I knew he was gonna lose, or I knew he was winning. So I was like, "You're not gonna cut a scathing promo. You're getting away with this one, and you're gonna get booed anyway. All I have to do is play your thing."
And also to tie back in, also to tie into communication, some people need to know where they are in the show.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to come in and be Johnny Badass and be the big dog on the block and be the world champion. That ain't how this works.
That's earned.
So that's earned, and in a lot of circumstances, you have to talk with the Fed owner and know, hey, where am I at on the card? Or if you're coming into a show, this is what I would now do if a Fed came to me and asked, hey, we want you to be a part of the show. Okay, what part of the show do you need? What part of the show do you need more? What part of the show are you lacking in? Are you lacking main eventers? Are you lacking mid-carders? Are you lacking jobbers? Are you lacking opening card acts? What are you lacking? Well, I'm lacking this, and this. Okay. I can send you this person. I'm fine sending feds that want to have me on the show. I'm fine sending them jobbers like The Lock.
Yep.
Because that's where I'm needed the most. So I'm going to accept that spot. Because that's where I'm needed the most, and if I'm working with other people on the show, that helps them out because we can talk about ideas, or if there's any, or in that case with a jobber like that, I just let the Fed owner do what they do. And maybe I'll have a few ideas I can throw in.
Yep.
You have to know what you're doing in the feds, in any fed that you're a part of, and where you're needed most.
Yep.
If a fed says, well, I need someone here and here. If your answer is fuck you, your response is going to be fuck you, and no one's gonna mess with you.
Yep. Because my thing is, I'll bring someone in. I need to figure out if it's an only character. So, and this is something that I need to get better at, by the way. So I'm gonna call myself out on something here because I don't do it and I need to. I need to figure out if this is your only character, or if you're a showrunner and you have multiple characters, because there's a lot of us who are showrunners that have multiple characters.
Hello.
All three of us fall in that category, because I know we all probably have 50 plus. And that's the first thing that I need to find out, which is, do you have one character or multiple characters? Second thing I need to find out from whoever I'm whoever I'm talking
Is
to.
how connected you are with that character.
Yes. How invested are you in the character? This is
Are you
something. This
is that character based off of a your dead grandmother or something that if someone says anything bad about them, you'll get pissed and want to shoot him in the head?
Yeah. Like, how important is this character to you? And all that. And then I need to give the disclaimer of, if I use the character, you need to understand that what gets said in the chat is just what's said in the chat, and you cannot take what people are saying online seriously. You can't. We've got friends in here who come in and they joke around and they make jokes about characters. We have heel simps, heel sympathizers as well. Heel simps. We have some of those too. But we have heel sympathizers who come in and will cheer up the heels. You know, if a heel does something bad, they sit there and they cheer them on. So if you if you don't have thick skin and you have a baby face, I'm a Sammy simp. If you bless you, Gav. You are by far one of my favorite heels, and I'll get there in a minute. But
Oh, definitely.
but
Okay.
you have heel simps. So if you're a baby face and you don't have thick skin, I need to know about it so I can request a different call from you. So I'm not dealing with the first time one of the heel simps shows up and says something bad about your character, you having a conniption fit. And crying during the stream.
Yep. And one of the things that Fed owners need to do, and this is worldwide and this is broad-wide, as far as I've noticed, and as far as what I've seen, seen from all the sides of the CAW that I'm from.
Hey, Temple. And
just a lot of things like that. Is good Lord, separate what some people say publicly out of character with their in character. My heavens, you don't have to agree with everybody politically, religiously, or anything else. Just if the call is good for your show, good Lord, just focus on the talent on the show.
Yeah.
This is a broad problem. This is a hobby, for goodness sake.
That's a topic for another day. There are odds. Let's not go too far into that right now. Talk about communication, not politics shit.
It's not it's not commenting on politics. It's the broad problem that people will do that as Fed owners. Which, when it comes to communication, we all know about working with people that are pains in the ass. Okay? We have plenty of stories. Yeah. We can name names. There are many pains in the ass in this world. That's why, even as an owner, you have to have, in a runner, you have to have thick skin.
Yep.
And not try to take and just unless they're really fucking up your show and doing stuff and not figuring out that where you have them is where you need them the most. If they're doing that, then drop them. But if they're not doing that and they're just being a standard pain in the ass, you can keep a few pains in the asses around.
So, if I may finally interject after I tried to say something earlier, but then you both kept going on with something.
Go on.
The whole...
Yeah, go ahead.
It was the whole thing with the whole, quick, feel-good moment thing or whatever. Little known factoid. At one point when SCD was originally known as Legion Professional Wrestling, and I was trying to make the transition over, I had the whole story I wanted to try to do. Problem was, I listened to the wrong people, and we basically did a fucking thing that should have taken a few months in the span of an afternoon. Because yeah, like they mentioned earlier, I was one of those guys where I'm like I needed the instant gratification of like I needed to kick your ass that day because you said something that I didn't like. Granted, over time, these two have taught me how to cut a good promo and how to tell a good story. I just wish I knew that back then.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually thank Odds for that, because he's who I learned that from. I was Mr. Instant Gratification at first when I started. Also,
So you and I were the same way, yeah.
I didn't understand the idea of a long-term storyline at first, and that was something that had to be taught or learned. Essentially, it was learned by watching Odds do his stories or do his shows, but a lot of the times,
Bless you.
Bless you.
thank you. A lot of the times, I would have the heel say something, and then on the same show, they'd get the baby face would get their comeuppance, and that would be it. And then I wouldn't have a story to tell afterwards, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, "Why am I not having a story to?" Oh, because I'm not.
Which question is
telling-
that, Temple?
Yeah, that is Temple's question.
Yeah, Temple.
Is being a
Look at
heel
that.
for like 10 years to a babyface now a good call? Does it just depend on the babyface turn, or on how the babyface turn is prevented when it comes to CAW? So I guess changing from turning heel after being 10 years as a babyface, is that a good call? Or does it just depend on how the turn goes? Or is prevented?
It depends on how you do it, but sometimes that thing can work. Other times heel turns can't work. That leads back to communication. Because if somebody's good doing a heel turn and the idea is, hey, I want to get this person over as a heel, and someone wants to be Johnny Badass and beat him in 5 minutes, there goes your new top baby fit. There goes your new top heel, because no one's gonna give a shit, and they're a joke.
Yeah. If you make your heel that you're trying to turn into your top heel a joke from the start, they're not going to get out of the gate very fast. I'm essentially echoing what you said.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
where that's why Phoenix is successful as a heel, because the people at the time that were burnt out and didn't give a shit and were gonna would lambast the living crap out of any one small problem that they saw weren't around. So I could make small mistakes with Phoenix from the start that nobody without a keen eye would have noticed, that I could learn from. So eventually Phoenix became who he is now as a big heel. But it's just how the heel turn is done.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot of the stuff that I know.
What's that word?
I didn't even say anything.
Okay.
A lot of the
That's okay.
stuff a lot of the stuff that I learned is with heel stuff. I learned by watching you. With Phoenix, actually. Phoenix was like the template for, if you really want to think about this, the American Phoenix was the template for Kelly Mavericks, for Jesus de Violencia, for most of my heels. I used what I saw Odds doing with Phoenix as kind of the template for how to get him set up. With Stan, I actually used a little bit of what I see Q doing with Candyman and with Tripolar, because he's supposed to be a badass, kind of like a Tripolar type character, but at the same time he's creepy, kind of like Candyman. So it's like I kind of took a little bit from both of them with Stan when I was working on him and getting him ready to go. So he's supposed to be pretty much a Dexter Loomis type, but not before Wyatt Six, obviously. But anyway. But that's kind of, I watch what people do and try to pick up from it all the time. I learn new stuff every time I watch an episode of BMH, every time I watch an episode of SPW, every time I watch an episode of CPW, SCD. It doesn't matter when I watch your guys'
with CPW.
shows.
With CPW, sometimes you learn what not to do.
Yeah, I learn what not to do and what to do every time I watch someone stream. You know, and I try to, when I learn something, I try to remind myself, okay, do that or don't do that, because you do that a lot. Because there are things that I do a lot that are not very good. I have bad habits when I stream, and I try to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Am I successful all the time? No.
No.
Was today a success? Somewhat, but not really. In certain points. Who forgot that there was
So if I may,
match? Yes, you may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say with like whenever I'm like learning with all these other stuff, it's also because of the fact that like I try to be kind of talking to my roster if I can. Be like, hey, what do you want to do with this or that? I know with like there are some people who are like yeah, I'm good with whatever, but here's an idea you can use, or with you odds, you're just like fucking whatever.
Uh-huh.
You're just like as long as I know the character, I can maybe sort of plan around it. At the same time, though,
and then if you want ideas, I can pitch stuff.
yeah, I was gonna say like
as a person on the roster, the final call is you, not me. I'm just a soldier in the army, and you're the lieutenant.
Yep. I will say like, I will take like to anybody who is on my roster, which is still kind of in development because I'm trying to figure out like when to cap off the roster and make sure I don't like go overboard. I am open to ideas in like if you message me going, hey, we can do this. The problem I have is when sometimes people go on their promos and they just go off and do something completely different, or at least try or do something to check with me 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do with this now?
Mm-hmm. And then there's some people that will give a lot of ideas, and some people don't like that as Fed owners because you're giving too much, but that's common practice. But that's also what some people don't know. That's common practice.
It is.
In certain Feds, they want you to just pitch ideas. So it's not just going to be, sometimes the idea is going to be your cause. Sometimes they're going to use it for somebody else. But because you're being active in pitching ideas and pitching the story, that's how you move up the ladder in certain shows.
That's actually
so in certain
farther.
So in certain Feds, that's how that works. So then when they move over to other shows that aren't like that, those Fed owners will get confused. Like, why the hell are they pitching 10,000 ideas? I thought they just gave an idea. No, they're pitching ideas because that's how other Feds work. So in that case, you have to try to migrate that person into understanding. I know you have a lot of ideas. And I know this is how some other Feds work. This is not how this Fed works. If you have an idea, pitch that one idea. I may use it. I may not. I have my own ideas. But as long as you're watching and you're willing to communicate and help with the storylines, we're good. You don't have to pitch 10,000 ideas, because some Feds are like that. Some Feds want you to pitch 10,000 ideas. It just depends.
So we were gonna do this kind of in a nice, organized way, but then we just at this point just gave a free for all.
Mm-hmm. It's
Mhm.
fine. It's our first one back.
But
We haven't done
but
one
that's
of
the
these in God knows how long. So
yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
podcast. But that's the podcast. What do you expect?
I actually kind of like the free flowing one better, where it's like, here's the topic, let's just try and all talk about it, where it's more of a conversation. Anyway.
Except for the fact that there are some times where it's like I am also going to be the guy in the background. I want to say something, but you guys will keep talking.
Then chime in and say, hey, can I say something real quick?
I tried to, but then well,
Do
the
you
first
do you
time
still,
I tried to,
do
and
you
then
still have stuff to say?
not right now. I don't.
Okay.
I was just saying, like that's kind of why I'm like.
Mhm.
I tried to at first, but then like
We
the,
do
like
need.
the first time I got talked over, so I'm like, okay, I'll just be quiet then.
Dang it, Gav, you're correcting us. We do need to be better about communicating with each other on communication, don't we?
Yep, need a bit of communication on that on the format.
We have to communicate about the communication on the format. Yep. Sorry, the guy who usually does that was busy this week, so don't know what
I
he
will
was doing.
say with like
Wasn't working or anything like that. But go on, Kyle.
I will say with like the shows and shit, I'd love to be able to communicate with my roster entirely. Problem is, I already know some people are probably gonna be busy with work or something, so it's like
Mhm.
I want to talk to people about ideas, but then it's like, okay, I gotta make sure I tell them straight up what the idea is. Otherwise, I'll forget about it when they finally get back to me. They're like, okay, what was the idea? Shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
Beetle knows this because I think this has happened to me before with him.
You've reached out and you said, hey, Beat, you got a minute? And then I don't, right? It's at a point
Yeah,
where
like,
like,
I
I'm
got-
at the
like,
gym,
got
or
a
I'm at
minute?
work, or I'm doing
Shit,
something. And I think
I need to get-
I think I finally messaged you back and was like, bro, just text me the idea that you have. Say, when you have a minute, I have an idea. Here it is. Let's talk about it. Like, I prefer that rather than hey, do you have a minute? And then 5 minutes later, here's my idea, blah 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 blah, because I have to reach out and say, sure. It's like, just send me the idea, and if I have time, I'll help. If I don't have time, I'll tell you that I'm busy. I did that with a few people earlier this week who asked me for help on certain things, and there's an entire article in my Discord now on how to do that one thing. But
That particular thing, yeah.
yeah, that particular thing. But yeah, and I was busy, and I was like, I really don't have the time. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but like I'm kind of busy at the moment, or I'm not home, or I have other things going on right now that I'm trying to do, and I have other things that I want to do outside of CAW that it's like I don't have the time to sit at my console all the time. But anyway, back to communication. Just send me a message and tell me what you want, and then I'll respond later. Anyway, back
Yeah,
to you.
pretty much. So, as far as the what's also being asked about the book in advance or just do one show to another. Personally, for me, I tried to book in advance. At the same time, that's bitten me in the ass before.
Yeah. I will always book in advance. That is how I book. I will always book in advance. Heck, this entire season is already booked, as well as future seasons down the line have already been booked or partially booked. It's like a blueprint. This blueprint's already finished, and I'm already working on some sketches on the other blueprints for the other seasons.
I have already, as far as booking is concerned, I will book. I will record up to 2 weeks in advance. So I'm already sitting on round 1 of the Champions Cup. I already have all 6 matches recorded. I know who the 3 people are that are going through to the semifinals already. And by the time I get there, I'm going to have the entire King of the Cage tournament recorded. So I'm usually a month ahead, because I do 2 shows a month now. So I'm usually a month ahead of of where I am. And I got that way because when I was doing it every week, it was nice for me to be a couple weeks ahead in case life happened.
Yeah,
So
but
it's a habit that's carried over, I guess. So I come up with a general plan where I have like I know who I want to win. If I don't get my way, oh fucking well. Like I pick 4 or 5 storylines that I want control over. The rest, I let whatever happens happens. I
unless someone wants to, as it's now called, pull a Cicely Scott.
I got what I wanted, so it's
That's a private freaking in joke.
yeah, I got what I wanted in that situation actually. So they only did it like 9 matches in a row. Anyway, 9 out of 10 matches, Sicily. Anyway,
But yeah, that's also why in circumstances when you have somebody that wants to do 10,000 different ideas and want to cut promos with them, and I challenge you to this ultimate bumblefuck match, and not tell the Fed owner what you're doing. When you have someone like us that are booking in advance, you're screwing up the entire card. One of the worst things to do is to try to change your entire booking schedule around just to appease one person's match idea.
yeah, that's the other that circles right back to that conversation earlier, which was tell me ahead of time so that way we can plan it out. You want this big match?
Yeah, so
tell
that's
me
why
ahead of time.
yeah. So say it beforehand so we can say, okay, let's see how we can get to what you want.
Yeah.
Or if that's even in the cards. If that's not in the cards, sorry, you ain't getting it. This isn't Burger King. Sometimes you can't have it your way.
I also
BK.
I don't
Have
do
it your way.
Have it your way.
I would do live matches, but my game has been yeah, I'm not going to go there. We're not going to talk about it, but my game has not been very nice. I have a number 5. Anybody want to guess what that number 5 is for? What the number 5 would mean? The number of times it happened yesterday.
I can venture a guess.
Yes. The number of
But
times. Anyway. Let's see. But on the communication,
and yeah, that's what that also can. That's why all that, as you can tell by how we've all the stories that we've said so far, a lot of the communication problems in any Fed all come down to
us.
either somebody being a pain in the ass, or just miscommunication, or in some cases, some people are just having problems at home and are having problems with certain people and certain circumstances in their life, and they want to be the big top dog in a Fed because that'll make them, feel better. That'll give them at least a smile on their face, which you're not going to ever know that, but sometimes you have to have that in mind of maybe someone's just going through something. But that doesn't mean you change everything around for them. That's why communication is so important well, this is what's going on and this is where I'm going. Do you like where you're going? If you don't, then I can recommend other Feds for you. I can recommend Feds that I think you could do well in, but this may not be the Fed for you. If you're looking for more storylines and being in more storylines, and you're in a Fed that doesn't really do a lot of storylines, then then why the hell are you in that Fed?
Yeah.
The Fed owner, the CAW owner themselves or the Fed owner should be man enough to sit there and say, "Hey, I don't think this fits. I don't think this show fits for you. Here are feds that I think could work for you. You can go there."
Well, that or what you do is you just talk with them and figure out what their idea of this hobby is, and have a couple divisions, which I do. I have a couple divisions for people who don't want to cut promos, who aren't in the Discord. I have a few people on the show who don't have Discord. So
yeah, but if there's certain feds that don't have that luxury,
I understand that, and I fully understand that. I do. I fully understand that. But that's why I have certain divisions now where it's like if there's someone who doesn't have the Discord, who can't cut promos or doesn't like cutting promos, I have live match, one shot divisions in my on my show. So you'll be in one of those. There is going to be one of the world titles is going to be just that. It's not your storyline world title, it's your live match title. That's the new world championship that I'm crowning, that we're crowning next weekend.
yeah, and like I said, some feds don't have that prop. Some feds don't have that luxury. So, as a Fed owner like me, you have to. If this person doesn't fit on my show, you have to go through your Rolodex in your head of, okay, would this person fit better on? Would this person fit on Blaze's show? Would this person, if I introduced them, would this person fit on Beatles show? Would this person fit on Samurai show? Would this fit on Rage's show? Would this person fit on Q's show? Where would this person fit if I know somebody that would benefit from having them
Yeah.
if they don't work with me?
That's fair.
Because sometimes because my style is different than Kyle's style, and Kyle's style is different than yours, and we all have different styles.
We all run our feds differently, so
yeah, we all run our feds differently. So put people in the places that they need to be. Which again, for communication, nobody's perfect, folks. We all have communication problems. But that's why all this comes up, because sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. Other times it's a pain in the ass that needs to be gotten rid of. Or sometimes it's just you're in a bad Fed and you need to recognize that, or just bad for you, and you need to get out of there. As a CAW wrestler or a digital wrestler.
yeah. Okay, so here's a good one that just came to mind. I'm gonna run a scenario by you guys because we're talking about communication. I'm gonna run a scenario by both of you, and I want to see what you guys would do in that scenario and how you would navigate it. So,
Okay.
So you have a call, right? That's going to be in a storyline with someone in your Fed. All right? They're set to have a match with each other. However, also happening in another Fed, your CAW is going to be off air for a little bit. But your Feds are working in tandem with each other. So if your character is off air on that show, they're going to be off air on your show. That's going to run into that match you're setting up. What would you do in communicating with the person that you're supposed to have the match with on your show? How would you navigate that? So let's say you want the storyline to happen on the other show. How would you navigate
Okay, so you're asking.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I know what we're navigating real quick.
So basically, I have a character, right? And he's going into a major storyline on another show. But
Say his name is Herman.
Part of that major storyline is he disappears for 5 or 6 weeks or longer. And if he's not back
For 7 years.
shut up, not 7 years.
This
He's not going to be champion for 7 years either. Anyway, this man taking jabs at somebody else. Anyway, so I have a character who's on my show, and he's on a friend show, and we're going into a big
I take a jab at anybody, sir. That was
big
you.
storyline. And I have another person who on my show I was planning a big match with with this character, and I went, oh shit, they're going to be missing. So what do I do? Well, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, just a heads up, you may not end up fighting him after all. I have a backup plan though. So
gee, I wonder what this is about.
Shut up. I have a backup plan though, and he's cool with it. So it's like we were working on another alternate storyline.
have a backup plan.
Okay.
But the match is going to end up
Okay,
happening
so you
anyway.
want to know how we would navigate this certain situation?
How would you have navigated that? You have Kyle, and Kyle is going to be out of action for 2 months. On, let's say it's on you. Okay, I have Kyle on my show, and he's supposed to have a match with Arthur, right? They're feuding.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have a match with Arthur. And on your show, Jake is gonna take him out for 2 months. Take him out of
X,
action.
Y reason.
Injure him, right? Jake's gonna injure him on your show. Jake Maverick, right? So Kyle goes away for 2 months. Well, crap, I can't have that match with Arthur now. How would you approach me and say, hey, Beat, can we postpone this? Like, what would it be? What would the message be?
I would probably just be direct with you. I'd just be like, hey, by the way, this particular story beat, if it screws your plans, we can work something out to make sure that we can go around it somehow.
Right. And my
I can figure out what to do next.
my response would be, all right, cool. And then I'd start throwing ideas around. I'd be like, all right, cool. Well, if it's gonna be 2 months, hell, Arthur's the heel in my storyline anyway. Why don't I have him just start calling out Kyle? Kyle.
Start having him basically cut heel promos against Cal when for whatever reason he's out for.
When Kyle can't stand up for himself. Yeah, of course. Because I'm the heel, right? That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, of course.
Poke, and then boom. Kyle shows back up. Arthur gets his ass kicked when Kyle's back 2 months later, and we move on.
Yeah.
Odds, what would you do in that situation? Let's say it's Phoenix. Or let's say it's Phoenix and he's just gonna go on a vacation because he's running from he wins the world title and he's running from Sawyer. And he has to go on a medical, I don't know. He has a medical emergency and can't be around. He can't be bothered or something like that.
That's the easiest thing to book.
I know.
For me, that's the easiest thing to book because I can just have him chicken out. And even if it's American Phoenix versus Matt Storm, same difference. I can keep doing the same damn shit.
Have him be
Phoenix being a chicken shit. well, I would be there to beat your ass, but I had a dentist appointment. I could not dare to miss it. And then anyone watching would be like, "Yeah, you son of a bitch," and or feet, blessed feet, sit there, boo, you motherfucker.
Yep.
Hope you die. Hope you die in the dentist chair.
Feet is one of my favorite people
Uh-huh.
when they react.
It's the same. It's the same thing and the same difference. I will I will always find a way to add it into the storyline, especially if it's a heel. If it's a baby face, that can be an angle that can be an easy angle too. You just modify your plans. You just modify your current plans, modify what you're currently doing, and that may mean a day or two of rearranging an entire show. But if it's for a good cause, it's gonna work. You have to do what you got to do, especially when it benefits both companies.
Yeah.
Or if it benefits one company, try to make it that it benefits the other.
Yeah. That's the
Like sometimes, not gonna drop anybody. Sometimes storyline plans end because of a pregnancy. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
No one else does. You don't us. There's random drops like that out of nowhere. Thin air. Said at the last second.
Let's see. When did I think I
But
did.
it's
I did something at some point. I made a change or something like that, and you looked at me and went, "What the hell? I had a story planned and everything." Wait, what? I forgot.
Yep.
I forgot what it was though, because it was so long ago. But
can me and Samurai tell this one?
yes,
I think we've said this. Have we said this on the podcast before? I think we have. Maybe. I don't know. We'll chew our food twice.
We're talking about Armageddon, right?
Yes. I was looking on my roster saying I don't really see Armageddon doing anything. There's not really much for him to do. Let me just retire him. And I can give Gibson somebody else. I can give Gibson Exodus. And Exodus can go on this big run.
However, at that time,
I'm like, okay, day of the show. We'll hear your side of it. Okay, day of the show. I'm doing the angle. Samurai's in the chat because this is before he had to work on Saturdays. I see. Wait a minute, what?
because I'm thinking of guard, I was like, what the hell? I think
Armageddon's retiring? I have storylines!
planned for this man.
And now, Samurai, your side of it.
Okay, so what had happened was I watched this. I'm like, oh, okay. I go to DM odds, go, hey, by the way, so do you want me just to get rid of Armageddon at the end of the season? Because I had ideas, but I can very easily just like scrap them or whatever. I think that was when you went, oh, fuck. Shit, I forgot the cow had him too.
Yeah, I completely forgot. I brain farted so hard that Cal already had plans for Armageddon. So I'm like, okay, how do we turn this into gold? And that's how that's how Armageddon versus Exodus
happened.
happened where Armageddon got his hands on Harvey Gibson.
Because I basically mentioned, yeah, I had an idea. The idea didn't come to fruition, but I could still build around it eventually.
Me sitting here enjoying popcorn, listening to the story again.
But
Holy
that's the moment where communication actually saved a CAW's career.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not see this coming.
Yeah,
But
that happens a lot. What you just typed?
I think we've covered this one at length.
We have.
Uh-huh.
But also, it's because of the fact that I already know CAW going live. Not like,
7 his
yeah,
time, 6 ours.
We have a little bit of time.
yeah,
before
about like
the-
less than 2 hours.
Yep.
But we've talked about communication just to
Length.
run at length, just to run it down. When you're talking to when you're there's always sometimes when it comes to communication it's just a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's where the person's from in the Fed world and the different styles of things. And sometimes they don't fit the show. Sometimes the owner's bad. Sometimes the creator's a pain in the ass.
A lot of times, though, it just comes.
And
down-
overall,
oh, go on. Sorry.
when it comes to this hobby, outside stuff is outside stuff unless it's horrendously bad. That should not affect anybody. That should not affect anybody's career. Have communication, and no matter what you're on in this world, let's just enjoy this hobby all as a whole and try to make and have better communication as a whole. We're never going to be perfect. Neither CAW creator or Fed owner. We're never going to be perfect, but at least we can give it our good college try to try to start.
Samurai, you want to give your 2 cents on this?
I
Your
don't think I really got to ask. That's the other thing I got to ask. Pretty much is just if you're a call creator, just please just try to communicate with the owner to make sure you know what you're doing, so you're not just like going like all guns blazing, do one thing, and then turns out you screwed up something they had planned.
Mm-hmm. And as you've heard from our stories, experienced people can have that same problem too.
On the flip side of that, if you're my 2 cents would be on the flip side of that. If you're a Fed owner, communicate with your people and let them know how you're going to run your show. That way they at least know how to get themselves into stories and how to do that if they want that. That's something that I need to do better, is communicate with my actual Discord and be like, hey, so here's how my shows work. You know, I feel like I need to do that at some point. Make a post and be like, here's how the shows are going to work moving forward. If you want to be in a storyline, I'm going to make a storyline chat where you can type in your ideas or whatever and put them out there into the world, because I like the idea of people giving story ideas. Even if it's for another character, I like that idea because I can take that and make something cool out of it. If it's if it's a story that fits what I'm looking for. But I need to be better at communicating with people, personally, is what I've kind of figured out going through all this and talking about all this. I need to be better at communicating and telling people, yeah, this is what I'm doing, or these are the plans I have. That's just me. That's my 2 cents take over, or 2 cents take from this is coming from the Fed owner's lens. It's also on us, and I realized that I haven't been the best at communicating in the past, and I'm working on getting better at it.
None of us have.
Yep.
He that have not sinned here is a Fed owner, cast the first stone.
Yeah.
The glass house.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Now that brings us.
Now
to...
we can talk about future plans.
Yes, that's what I was getting to.
Okay. Do you mind if I start so I can get my shit out of the way?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so
It's your shot, my friend.
as I have mentioned before, like at one point in this podcast, I have started a bit of a reset for SCD, basically just getting us all back to square one ish. Basically, getting the roster down to a manageable number, getting all this other stuff planned.
Which that could be hard too. We can have a future podcast on that.
Yep. Also,
Yeah, pretty much.
BRB odds go next.
Okay.
Keep going.
I have plans for a super show to basically kind of bring a lot of this together, bring it all to light. I know you gave me an idea that I'm actually going to run with. I'm just going to actually sit down and make a call that is integral to that part of the story. The moment the roster cap is basically going to be... Okay, I'm going to say it like this. It's 60 per kind of show that I've planned. I have Overdrive, which is basically going to be replacing Adrenaline. Yeah, basically Overdrive and Ring of Iron. They're still going to both be things. Overdrive's replacing Adrenaline. Overdrive is going to be kind of the Raw-ish thing of SCD. Ring of Iron's going to be the NXT-ish thing. The story elements will make more sense when I actually get to it. Because I have plans to maybe just write a promo for myself for that particular segment. Also the fun stuff. Eventually, SCD will be basically back on your TV screens, and I'm hoping I can get a little more consistent with actually planning this out. Yada yada yada. Odds, your turn.
All right. For this year, this season, this side of it, CPW has
Back.
CPW's entire story has already been set up, everything going forward has already been planned. Samurai knows one of the angles already.
What? Kyle knows an angle that I don't?
From start to finish. Yes, he does. And
Damn.
and it involves one of the characters that you didn't see coming back. Anyway.
Oh, him. Never mind. That storyline. Okay.
Anyway.
So, Steven Jones.
So this season will end in July through Hell or High Water. Then we will have one final thing that will take less than a week to make. That will be in August, but after that, after this short of a season, I am going on a 7-8 month break, 7-8 month hiatus. Coming back for 2K27. I'm still going to be a part of other feds. With 2K26, I'm just taking a good, relaxing 7-8 month hiatus when it comes to working on CPW to refresh my batteries and to refresh storylines personally, and to come up with just refresh myself as a booker, because I've been doing this since 2019 and I am burnt to hell.
That's fair.
So this season will be very short. The rest of the year will be me taking a well-needed vacation.
That's fair. That's more than fair. Is it my turn? Or no?
Yep.
Okay.
No, we're just sitting here for our help.
I didn't want to cut you off, so I'm just making sure.
Is it my turn? No, it's Casper the Ghost's turn.
Yes, that's Casper's turn. Oh, you're gonna hear. Ooh. No, just kidding. For me, I have about 2 episodes planned each month of moving forward for the next year. My plan is to stay in 2K25 for the next game cycle. And potentially plan on getting 2K27 when it comes out. That is my current running plan. Take a year in in 25, do 2 shows a month. That'll give me time to actually tell the stories that I want to tell and not have to reinvent the wheel at the start of the game cycle, of the new game cycle, and be able to just continue telling stories and continue planning everything out and doing it that way. I'm working on testing some stuff right now because I'm trying to get to the point where I can fit at least a 11 to 13 match card in 3 hours. That's my goal, is to do that, be able to have stories going at the same time. I've done it once or twice before, and I really like those episodes, so I want to try and replicate that. Time in and time out, or time in and time again for all my shows. That's the goal.
Time in, time out.
Time in, time out, yeah. But that's
Time in, time out.
yes.
Time
Time in,
in,
time
stuff
out.
all that.
That is the goal, though. The goal is to be able to fit the roster in 2 episodes a month, which is difficult when you have 98, 97. I counted everybody. I forgot that I was counting Idol as a wrestler, and he's not. He's a manager. So 97 people.
He's still a part of the roster.
He is part of the roster, and he
You
will
still have to
show
book him.
Well, yeah, he's going to show up, and he's going to be cutting promos and doing all that stuff. But match-wise, my goal is to get 11 to 13 matches on a show. And I've already kind of figured out, like, I played around with the numbers a little bit to make sure that I could get half the roster in 1 week and the other half in
Remember,
the
go
next.
gosh, just Beetle Meltzer.
No. I actually figured out a way to get 5 singles matches and 2 normal tag matches out of it, doing it that way, and not have rumbles either. Not have to do rumbles or 10-man gauntlets. So you'll see some 8-man matches and some other matches like that are. The Champions Cup is going to be a good reference for that, because you'll see some of those match types. But I wanted to figure out a way to fit everything in and make it all work, and then still have those big pay-per-view moments. So that's my goal for my next season. And that's what I'm working towards right now. It's still a work in progress. I haven't figured out everything perfectly yet, but I'm getting there. And that's my aim. Tell good stories and keep in 25. Also, the Champions Cup is going to be in Kingston, Jamaica, and that starts in January. Doing it over 3 nights should be a lot of fun. Got 2 other tournaments happening in the middle of it. And then PC and Fallout, and then we start the season. I'm taking the month of April off because, well, yeah, just no streams in April. But I make up for those in November. So, anyway, that's my future plans. 24 streams planned for 2026. 24 Octane-based CAW wrestling streams. I should say. I needed to clarify that. Anyway, that's all I've got. Do you guys have anything else to add today?
Not really.
Hey,
Alright, you?
Alrighty.
Nope. Not at all.
I think it is safe to say then that, folks, the shop
Shop is officially closed.
cut me off. Damn. I was going for a dramatic effect, you motherfucker.
My line, asshole.
The shop is
I suppose
officially.
we need to restock on knowledge.
God damn it!
We need to restock on knowledge.
We need to restock the shelves.
I'm just gonna close the doors now.
Please make your purchases and get the hell out of the store. It's closing time.
Exactly. Get out of here. You're starting to worry us.
The shop is closed. Thanks everybody for stopping in. We will see you next time. We don't know when the next Let's Talk CAW Shop podcast is. It could be a month from now. Who knows? I'm gonna jinx it just like GM mode.
2 months from now.
It could be 2 months from now. It could be 3 months from now. We don't know. I don't use all my talent every show. So. to include big matches. I do like your idea though of talking about roster size, Mackenzie. So maybe that's what we'll do on our next podcast: is talk rosters, talk roster
Yeah.
size.
We'll talk about it.
And
We'll
how
talk about
we
what our
manage
next
it.
podcast is going to be about.
Yeah. So, anyway, the shop is closed, and we'll take that into consideration, Mackenzie. Y'all have an
We'll take it into
amazing.
consideration there, Mackenzie.
If you don't hear from the Let's Talk Coffee Shop podcast before the holiday season, we wish you all a happy holiday season. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas, your New Year's.
Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa.
Yep. The next one of these will be in 2026. So we'll see you next year for the next Let's Talk Coffee Shop podcast. I'll see you next week for the holiday season finales. For the holiday season
as well as the road to Bound for Success on my
Yes.
side.
The Road to Bound for Success happening on Saturday on Odds Aside. You've got Friday night. I've got Winter Wonderland and Sunday. I've got Winter Wonderland, and then Q might have a show next week. I'm not sure yet. So
You has a show tonight, and may have
He
a show
does.
next week. Who knows?
yeah, we got a BMH tonight.
In about like an hour and a half, I believe.
G1 happening very soon. So that should be a lot of fun. Stay safe, everybody. Happy holidays, and talk to you all later.
And remember to tip your waitress.
Yes, that. This stream is done, and the shop is closed.
Officially closed. Bye.